Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Welcome back.
Yeah, and Cindy right now has a big, heavy winter jacket on. She's wearing a hat, and we're in a cabin that doesn't have like regular heat, so we're trying to make do with just one little space heater.
Yeah, it's working. It's working.
Yeah, I can't see my breath yet.
No, you're good. You're good.
So China is creating a generation of super soldiers using gene editing. We're going to be talking about some things that some might find disconcerting, some might find just downright scary, and some might find just downright wrong.
That's what I'm feeling. Just things that are just downright really wrong.
But it's coming. It's the mindset of this world. And we see here National Intelligence Director John Ratcliffe has said that China is creating a new generation of super soldiers using gene editing to make them stronger and more powerful. Speaking in an interview on Fox News today, he said the CCP military expansion has become so aggressive they're now engaging in human testing to create a biologically enhanced army. Clarifying comments that he made in an op-ed published on Thursday on Wall Street Journal, he said their aim is to dominate military technologically and economically. On the military front, they have already achieved having the largest navy in any country in the world, and that might be surprising to some. The People's Republic of China has a military of 2 million men, and that's a big number. They want them to be the largest, and they also want them to be the strongest. This is why they're engaging in gene editing, literally trying to alter the DNA to make soldiers, sailors, and airmen stronger and more powerful. Oh, wow, this feels like 1930s Germany all over again, 1940s, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, except for they actually are doing it and they have the technology and they don't mind if it's morally wrong.
This comes after a critical article he wrote for the Wall Street Journal last week when he said that China poses the greatest threat to America and the rest of the free world since World War II. In the piece, Ratcliffe said that the U.S. intelligence shows that China has conducted tests on the members of the People's Liberation Army. And he is a Republican from Texas and a member of Congress. There are no ethical boundaries to Beijing's pursuit of power. But it doesn't mean that there aren't other countries that are doing things as well. The United States has DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Projects, and the things that you will see coming out of DARPA are just downright scary. And right now the big push is AI merging with many other different technologies.
Talk about ethical issues.
So this is smart news. Human interruption slows down military robots in simulations. So AI can make decisions faster than humans, raising a myriad of ethical questions when applied to weapon systems. And is it time to rewatch all the Terminator movies?
Maybe.
Think about where we're coming with this. So in August, an artificial intelligence system turned heads when it defeated a seasoned F-16 fighter pilot in 5 simulated dogfights run by DARPA. And more recently, DARPA and the United States Army have been studying simulated battles between units of a few hundred soldiers working with swarms. That's scary. Swarms of AI-driven drones and robots. There are, I've seen China's swarms as well that they've used. Other countries have this as well. I think we saw some different fighting with what was happening in Azerbaijan and Armenia with the use of drones as well. It's just going to all new level. Mm-hmm. It's really creepy.
Well, I'm really disturbed because I've seen this for a while where our heart chakras as human beings are getting larger. So I've always kind of thought that they would bring in some kind of AI because our military might not be willing to do certain things anymore.
Bingo.
Yep.
Bingo. That's it. I think people are going to wake up too and realize, hey, this is just wrong. Why are we taking part in this? And here you see DARPA awards contract to 5 companies under Aerial Combat Evolution program. This follows the August Alpha dogfight trials, which saw an AI system beat a human pilot. You're going to be seeing more robotics. We're going to be seeing robots just walking down the center of the street, keeping the peace.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we will, and it's disturbing, but it's true.
It's really disturbing. And, we could also get into the whole implant program, which many feels already going on with soldiers. So if you're talking about super soldiers on the CCP side, there probably are super soldiers on this side as well.
Well, I feel that there's so many things going to be revealed in the upcoming days even.
And you see these little guys. Well, Cindy and I saw 4 of these that were each one of them as big as my full-size Dodge pickup truck. Seriously. And they were on what usually is like a car carrier.
Yeah.
And it was in Las Vegas, and it was on the side of the highway. And I couldn't believe my eyes as I passed by and said, what the?
They were big and mean and intimidating looking on purpose.
Exactly like these, pretty much.
Yeah.
Just very large. I mean, like literally, I would say they were 20 feet long each and probably 7 or 8 feet high.
Yeah, they were just repulsive, really.
With legs like this, you know. So what you're seeing here, these are made by Boston Dynamics. And by the way, they're being deployed in New York.
I don't like that.
Here again, you know, this is why I'm doing that series over on Evolutionary, is because some things are going to be rolled out in states ahead of others. And if we do end up splitting up into multiple countries, provinces, territories, districts, whatever, precincts, it might be different in certain areas. So if you guys didn't check out the last video I just put up there about surviving the zombie apocalypse and going somewhere where there's not a lot of people, you'll have less chance of seeing this somewhere in Alaska or Wyoming or Montana than in New York City streets.
That's right.
So yeah, you know, you have 15 seconds to comply. Otherwise, vaporized. Well, I'm just adding that as an aside and hopefully a joke, but you never know. NYPD says new robotic cop dog will save lives as netizens warn of sci-fi dystopia. NYPD has unveiled a new dog-like robot it's going to use to fight crime. Yes, it is. Some people are not so happy about that. Thinking back to RoboCop, right?
Yep.
Dubbed the DigiDog, the New York City Police Department showed off its new canine Automotion to local media earlier this week, boasting of its sophisticated AI system and series of cameras and sensors, which can be used to get a close-up, real-time look at dangerous situations before sending in flesh and blood officers. So my question to you is, you know, we got drones that routinely take out the quote-unquote bad guys with weapon systems on board, bombs on board. You know, what's to say that, you know, this isn't deployed and then just a little bit later, by the way, it's going to be armed with either an M16 or maybe a laser?
Well, I feel they're definitely going to have the ability to upgrade them.
Yes. And there's video for you guys to check this out. These little guys weigh in at 70 pounds, so they weigh about the same as Zeke. But they don't have Zeke's heart.
No, they don't.
Not at all. And, you know, the other side of the scale, because to me it feels like there's a massive war on between technology that will take away every little bit of humanness and what's happening naturally, which is a beautiful thing, is as humans are growing, expanding, changing in a positive way. Kind of getting our wings back, you know, developing abilities that have been lost to the masses for generations. And this is out of Science Times saying, you know, humans are still evolving. Of course we are. DNA is programming. You know, we can, basically compare DNA to a computer program. It can be overwritten. It can be rewritten. It can be changed. It can be altered.
And the difference is between, you know, there's AI, but then AI does not have a human soul. We have a soul that can never take that.
Yeah, AI will do what it's programmed to do regardless of any emotions because it's emotionless. And again, as Cindy said, that could be a big part of what's going on. And, you know, for all those out there that don't believe there's any such thing as evolution, well, you're just wrong. You just are not well informed because there is evolution. Things change. You know, again, we are energy. Energy can't be created or destroyed. It just changes forms. Everything's always in a period of changing. You're not the same yesterday as you are today. and you won't be the same tomorrow. It's the same thing with all of us and everything. Everything's always changing. And everything, as we said, it's composed of subatomic particles which are responding to thoughts.
Well, yeah, and we are plasma, just really dense forms of plasma, and that's what the sun is too.
Humans are gifted with evolution, with skills and capabilities not found on other ancient humanoids that we know about. Some of them might have actually been more advanced than us in many ways. As we have talked about recently, the fact that Denisovans, Neanderthals, Cro-Magnon all had larger brains, were beefier, stronger, more muscular, thicker bones, yet they're not here.
I know, and I think that's deliberate.
Yeah, so we're not being told the truth. But it's interesting, too, because they get into how we are evolving. And, for instance, our body temperature is decreasing. Remember 98.6 we were all told? Well, now we're at 97.9. So our body temperature has been decreasing. So, of course, there'll be side that say, well, it's got to do with global warming somehow. Maybe it's inhaling too many carbon emissions.
Yes, it's all your fault. Yeah.
Yes. Step away from the muffler.
Yes.
Changes in genes. Human genes are in a continuous state of change from one generation to the next. But there is DNA memory as well.
Yes, there is.
So one major instance of this is increasing genes enabling our lactose tolerance. And, there's others. Our bones are actually getting lighter and frailer. And again, if we were to go face-to-face, toe-to-toe, with, a Cro-Magnon or a Neanderthal, Denisovan from, say, 40,000 to 60,000 years ago, most would not fare too well. Because, even though we have some amazing athletes now that have high nutrition capabilities, because we understand a lot more about nutrition and how to tweak things. And, of course, we got enhanced humans as well, technologically, and of course steroids and all those type of things. But if you took the average person, we're cream puffs compared to those ancestors.
They would stomp us.
Yeah, they would. They definitely would. And they lived harder lives, tougher lives, and were out more in the environment.
Yep.
And they were physically better adapted for this planet, which gets you thinking about. They're always talking about that missing link there that they never seem to find. It's in our stories.
Yes,
it's in all our legends, and you guys know what we're talking about. So scientists believe awakening began around 12,000 years ago when humans shifted from hunting to stable farming. And boy, that brings us back to Younger Dryas and the last cataclysm, which we talked about as well at length. This is just one of the things. And the thought is that sometime if we just keep sitting behind the desk and just, eventually not even using our fingers to type and just usually, using our mouth, we'll end up looking a lot like Greys.
I think so, yes.
We will. I mean, again, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. And by the way, the Neanderthal Y chromosome is much closer to us than thought. And, as we know, I think I have like 2.1 or 1.9% Neanderthal. We all have a little bit, well, depending on where you come from. It's something that's found in Europeans, for instance. And then Denisovans, there are people that have Denisovan DNA as well. And, again, Neanderthal, I think that we have given him a bad story, thinking of him as a thuggish brute and stuff, with a larger brain.
I know. I don't think they're thuggish brutes. I think their brains were very powerful, actually.
Yeah. And again, we could go back to the biblical phrase, where God says, I will not strive with humans anymore. Their days shall be no more than 120. And then we wonder, what happened? What happened? Genetic intervention. We look at the Sumerian texts as well, and we see, you just could even look at some of the inscriptions and the drawings and the stuff we found, and it looks a lot like test tubes. It looks a lot like modern day laboratories going on here. And by the way, Neanderthals buried their dead as well. So thuggish brutes that maybe are gonna eat their dead. No, not the case at all. Not the case at all.
Right, that mourn their dead.
Yeah, and coincidentally, they disappeared about 41,000 years ago. With the last big events and changes that we were talking about, because we were talking about magnetic pole excursions and reversals, and all this stuff coincides.
It sure does.
Interesting times, guys. As always, I want to thank you for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. Stay prepared as always. God bless and namaste.
God bless and namaste.